So you think college is too expensive, huh? Too high of a cost? Tuition is just out of control? Well, watch this clip if you can stomach it, and then I'm going to come back and educate all of you people who think that college costs too much. But first, let's hear your favorite Somalian who should be kicked out of this country, but here she is running off at the mouth in Congress, and this will show you exactly why college expenses aren't ever going to come down as long as you guys keep on electing people like this. So let's watch this little clip, and then I'm going to explain to you fully why college costs so much. And I'll bet you half of y'all don't even know this. All right, let's watch the clip.
I don't think that is how it works.
It is exactly how it works.
That is not how it works.
It is
your specific job.
It is supply
Your
and
specific
demand.
job is to try to make sure, as the head of the Department of Education, to make education accessible for Americans. When you create policies that make education unreachable for Americans that want that education, then you are failing at your job.
No, when there have not been caps on programs and universities have been allowed to charge whatever they wanted, and the student loan program allowed them to borrow up to whatever that university said was the cost, it was time to take action and to put caps in place that are going to
but your caps only create a funnel through the private borrowing system.
That's not true.
Yes, that is what it will do. How else would somebody, if
putting the
if I wanted to get a professional degree and I'm capped and I can't borrow, then I have to, from a public source, then I have to go private. And that is what your administration is really trying to do, is trying to help enrich others on the backs of the American people. I yield back.
All right, that was absurd. That was completely absurd. Now, I'm going to set you all straight and tell you what the real deal is. So Ilhan Omar claims that it's your right to get this guaranteed student loan and go to the college of your choice and get your degree. It's your right. And they're keeping you from having complete open access to whatever college you want to go to and major in what you want. Well, guess what? It's not a right. And the fact is, college is overly priced and super expensive for a reason. And the reason is the guaranteed student loan program. That's why it costs so much to go to college today. Now, most of you probably don't even realize what a guaranteed student loan is, because most people think that it's your guarantee to get a loan to go to college. Well, that's not what it is. Guess what? The guarantee is to the bank. That's right. It's a guarantee to the bank that they can loan you as much money as you need to go to college. And when you default, the government is going to cover the expense of that loan. Now, let me give you a little history lesson. For those of you that don't know, the Guaranteed Student Loan Program started way back in the 50s, back during the time where you had a man working, a woman raising the kids, single income home, and the majority of people in the country worked labor jobs and didn't go to college. All of a sudden, somebody came up with the bright idea that everyone should have a right to go to college. We need to help students be able to go get a degree, all right, so they can earn a better living and have a professional job instead of a labor job. Well, how did they pull that off? Well, they passed a bill and created the Guaranteed Student Loan Program. And what that did was it provided a guarantee to the bank that, hey, if you got all these students that want to go to college, you can give them a loan regardless of their credit history or regardless of their income. They don't even have to have a job. Give them the loan. And we, the government, will guarantee that loan. And if they skip town and decide not to pay it back, well, we will cover the difference. Yeah, that's right. Now, in the old days, people used to go to college and they'd pay as they went along. So they'd be working a job and then they'd also take classes and they'd pick away at their degree, and tuition wasn't really that expensive and they were able to pay it off in full. So by the time they graduated, they didn't have any debt because they were paying for it. Kind of like if you went to McDonald's to get a Big Mac and a French fry, but you would get loans to pay for it instead of pulling the money out of your pocket. Okay, so as soon as the guaranteed student loan program passed, you had a flood of new students applying for college to go to colleges all over the United States, and demand went up. And with that, tuition went up. That's the reason why tuition started to go up, because the demand went up. But there's another reason why tuition exploded, is because the light bulb went off in the minds of the university presidents and the boards of curators, and they realized that, hey, with all this new demand and the fact that the banks have a guarantee from the government that, they're going to get their money no matter what, we probably could raise tuition even beyond the demand. We could double tuition and they'll still pay it, because all the kids will do is say, hey, bank, I need double the money. Okay, so instead of having to pay, say, $10,000 for a degree, well, now it takes about $20,000, and they'll go ahead and pay it. The bank will give it to them, and they won't worry because the government's going to back that loan. So that added to it. Now, another thing caused tuition rates to go up, and that was competition. So the colleges and the universities all across the United States were competing for this new flood of students that were applying for college. So in order to hoard all of these new students, they decided, well, we got to fix up our facilities. We're going to build dormitories. We'll let them stay on campus where they can live here. We'll provide dorm rooms. We'll even put a cafeteria in our school so they can eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, then other schools decided, hey, we'll take it a step further. We'll even add a workout facility where they can work out and exercise and have a good time. And then all of a sudden you had schools up in the ante, and they said, hey, we'll throw in a swimming pool and a gymnasium with basketball courts. Yeah, because, hey, it would be a lot more fun if you could come to school, stay in this dorm, get all the food you need, have a workout facility, and be able to play basketball. Now, it didn't stop there. They went on to add tennis courts, racquetball courts, swimming pools, and everything else under the sun. So when I went to college back in 1986, fall of 1985, I applied for school at Mizzou, University of Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, okay? And I went to school for 5 years. I stayed on campus for 3 of those years in the dorm, where you had 2 people in a room and you had to go down the hallway to take a shower or use the bathroom. You had regular cafeterias. We had like a gymnasium that had 3 basketball courts and a little workout center. Well, fast forward to today, and by the way, I spent a total of $13,500 for those 5 years, 3 of which were on campus. Fast forward to today, and my 2 youngest of my 4 who went to Mizzou, well, you're paying about $100,000 to $150,000 to get that degree now. Now, when I go to visit campus, it's not just the 3 little basketball courts. They built a whole new facility before I graduated where they added 4 more courts. And then all of a sudden, now they've even got outdoor turf fields, soccer fields. There's like 3 or 4 soccer fields. There's even more tennis courts. There's racquetball courts. There's pickleball courts. There's a cutting edge, state-of-the-art workout facility. And now those dorms where you just had 2 people in a room, well, forget that. Now you got suites. They made them like, premium suites, little apartment complexes where you get your own bedroom and 4 people stay in a suite, and then you have a bathroom and a shower so you don't have to go down the hall to take a shower. Now, those plain old cafeterias with the regular, gross, disgusting cafeteria food, well, now they're restaurant quality. And there's cafeterias all over campus, and each one has a different restaurant theme. Okay, so they've upped the ante, and that's where all your money is going, because the competition is super high to grab up all of these students, because they know they can charge whatever they want, because the students will pay it, and the banks will give them that money, because the banks are guaranteed by the government. Now, interesting thing is, The cost of tuition has gotten so ridiculous and absurd that there's a whole lot more people defaulting on their student loans than ever before. And the rate for applying for a forbearance is higher than it's ever been. So what's happening is you get people majoring in underwater basket weaving or general studies or just getting a degree in criminal justice or psychology and not getting an advanced degree or art history, different weird little useless things like that. And then they're paying $150,000 to get the degree. And if you go to a private school or a school in a big conference like the SEC, you might pay $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to get that degree. Well, when you major in underwater basket weaving and you graduate and you got that $200,000 or $300,000 of student loans, and you find out the only job you can get is working as a barista in Starbucks, you got a little problem. You can't pay your student loans. And then all of a sudden you think, well, this is not fair. I should be able to make more money with this big fat college degree, even though I majored in underwater basket weaving. And so we think, well, they should raise the minimum wage from $15 an hour, which is what it is here in Missouri. Well, let's raise that up to $50 an hour because, by God, I have a right to more money because I had a right to go to college and a right to major in something that is useless, that has no demand in the job market. So what happens? Well, you get all these people defaulting on their loans because they say, oh, well, this is a scam. It's a ripoff. The university's charging me all this money. I've got this $200,000 loan. How am I supposed to be able to pay this off when I'm making $15 an hour? It's my right, so I'm not going to pay it. And they don't. They default. And then the bank says, okay, government, you guaranteed this loan, foot the bill. Now, you wonder why your taxes are so high. Well, it's because everybody thinks that we have a right to have open accessibility, as Ilhan Omar says. I can't stand the way she talks. It's your right to get these worthless degrees, okay? And how dare you try to put a cap on the guaranteed student loans? So the big fight in this whole congressional hearing right here, basically they're trying to cut back and put a cap on how many student loans go out to different sectors that are oversaturated. And so the rub is they're claiming that they are taking the term professional off of certain degrees, like saying nurses are no longer a professional degree or teachers are no longer a professional degree, and they're outraged by that. That's a lie. They're not taking the term professional off of those degrees. What they're saying is certain professions that have too many people that are applying for guaranteed student loans to go to these bloated colleges and universities that we know that they're not going to be able to pay off because the job market is not providing enough money for them to make a living. Well, those are the ones that we need to cut back on the guaranteed loans. Because why are we guaranteeing loans to people that we know aren't going to make enough to pay it off while the universities sit back and get filthy, stinking rich? Because they know they can charge whatever the hell they want. So that's the problem. Everybody's entitled. Everybody thinks that you were born with these rights, that you can do whatever the hell you want and go to a country club university and party like a rock star for 4 years and stay in a suite with restaurant quality food and have top-notch entertainment, workout facilities, gymnasiums, basketball courts, racquetball courts, pickleball courts, and everything else known to man, and then graduate and have the right for the government to pay for all of that. It's out of control. Do you think it's out of control? Do you think that everyone should be guaranteed to have the money to major in something that has no demand in the job market? Now, I tell you what, the demand is in trades right now. There's not enough people going to tech schools and trade schools to learn how to fix plumbing, how to do electricity, how to pour concrete, how to build houses, how to construct bridges, how to build roads and highways, wastewater treatment plants, water treatment plants, how to construct and maintain landfills. There's not enough people majoring in the useful things that we need every day. Here in the United States right now, we're in the middle of an infrastructure crisis because all of those roads and bridges and wastewater treatment plants, water treatment plants and dams and big buildings that were constructed 50 to 100 years ago, well, they have a lifespan of 50 to 100 years, and now they need replacing. That's why you see bridges falling down. Every now and then you'll hear reports in the news of bridges failing. Okay, so we have this infrastructure crisis, not enough people working in the trades, not enough people getting into construction jobs, and a ton of people going to school at these bloated colleges and universities that are basically country clubs where they major in underwater basket weaving and then demand $50 an hour when they get out of school. That's the problem. So what are your thoughts? Do you think the guaranteed student loan program should be, I was going to say a bad word, should it be canned? We'll put it that way. Should it be canned? I think they need to get rid of the whole thing. I think we need to go back to basics. And if you want to get a degree, you're going to have to figure out a way to pay for it yourself and guarantee it yourself. And then if a bank wants to help you out, they're going to have to take the risk and not the government. Here we are sitting on trillions of dollars of debt. The United States doesn't have real money. We print money. It's fake money. So why are we guaranteeing loans to people that want to major in worthless degrees where there's zero demand in the workforce? Answer that question. I'd love to know the answer to that. So should we get rid of guaranteed student loans? Do you think we should cap off how many student loans are given in different sectors and different fields where there's too many people that are majoring in those degrees? Do you think that there should be a continuing guarantee for all of these people flooding into these bloated areas where there's no jobs? Tell me what you think in the comments below, or if you agree with Ilhan Omar that you have a right to have access to whatever degree at any college and university that you want. Let me know in the comments. I'll be curious to know. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Come back, comment, check out the channel. We'll see you on the next one. This is Carlton. I'm out.